Hi everybody, welcome to the very beautiful and exciting new community server map by Battlesquatch called Anastara. So in this video what I'm going to be doing is going through how to install this on your community server, because there's quite a lot to unpack with how to do it if you want to run it in the way that the map creator Battlesquatch intends. But although it might seem complicated, in fact Battlesquatch has been kind enough to actually do a lot of the donkey work that normally makes installing different mods on a server complicated indeed. So anyway, without further ado, let's head on over to Steam. So we're going to be relying on a few things here. In the description below this video there's going to be loads of links, and they're going to be links to all of the different mods that Battlesquatch recommends you use when you install Anastara, and also some resources as well. So for example, we're going to be using FileZilla to upload our files, so whichever FTP program you want to use to do that sort of stuff, that's a good one to use that way. We're going to be referring to the Discord, because that's very important. You go there and you can ask for specific help with specific problems. There's going to be the GitHub repository as well, and also I'll put links in the description below this video for my guides on how to install a local server, and how to install Vanilla++ admin, and how to install CF and Zombie admin as well, because I wouldn't recommend installing Anastara on your remote community server if this is your first rodeo at doing this. Maybe start with something a little bit simpler that doesn't really require a lot of these associated mods to go with it, because there's quite a lot that can go wrong. And I also highly recommend that you install this on a local server first. Get it running on your local server so you can be aware of any problems that happen. However, although it might seem complicated, because you can see all these tabs here at the top of my screen and you're thinking that is an awful lot of mods to install, and if you have any experience with installing a lot of mods at the same time, that means there's a lot of things to go wrong. What is absolutely fantastic about Anastara is the hard work that Battlesquatch has put in creating the mission files that include the XML snippets for those individual mods. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, if you go over to the Anastara mission files on their GitHub repository, have a good read of the README. And basically what Battlesquatch says, he says, look, there's certain mods that you must have if you want to run Anastara. So you need to have Anastara, the Anastara server pack, and DAB's framework, and they'll all be linked in the description below this video. However, what I highly recommend is that you also install SimpleSpawner for the spawning of landmines, because they're on the map, Spawner Bubuaku mod, which allows zombies to spawn underneath the ground, and then also Geb's Fish for more fishing, Waterfall, Fireplace Plus, Crocodile, Zen Notes, Windstride's Clothing Pack, Red Falcon's Heliz, Red Falcon's Watercraft, Basic Earplugs, and No Force Weapon Rays. But what he's done is all of the, for example, the types for Geb's Fish are already in the mission files that you get when you download the GitHub repository, which is fantastic. All of, for example, the code that you need to have Red Falcon's Flight Systems, Heliz, helicopters spawning in, included in the event, is included in the mission file. Obviously you can customize it to whatever you want, but the fact that that work is done now is really cool, because it means that you can have quite a dynamic server without having to worry about doing too much stuff. Okay, so in the description below this video, once again, you'll find all these links, and you'll find links to Anastara, DAB's framework, Windstride's Clothing Pack, the Anastara server pack, Geb's Fish, Fireplace Plus, the Crocodile mod by Hunter Z, Zen Notes, Red Falcon's Heliz, Red Falcon's Watercraft, Basic Earplugs, No Force Weapons Rays, the Waterfall mod, the SimpleSpawner mod, the Spawner Bubaku mod, and then I think you should also have Community Framework, VP Admin Tools, and Zombie Admin Tools. And you might say, well, why do you need two admin tools? Well, you need VPP for the waterfalls, and you need I think Zombie Admin Tools is really cool because it's pretty lightweight. It works almost all of the time, and it's very accessible. You know, if you want to quickly jump into God mode or to fly around the map, it's really quick and fast to do, and I've never really had any problem with zombie admin tools. Also, so what you want to do is go over to Steam and subscribe to all of those mods, and then when you open up the DayZ launcher, it will then download all those mods and put them in the correct place that we're going to use them in a minute. Also, you'll want to join the GitHub, and you'll want to download the waterfall file, the waterfalls.vpp. So you want to download that, and that'll be in your downloads folder. And on the Anastara Mission GitHub repository, click on the code, click on download zip, and download all of that. Now, once that's downloaded to your computer, what you want to do is open up a folder somewhere. I have, for example, have a DayZ modding directory that puts stuff like this in, paste it in there, and then extract it. And also that waterfalls file that we had before, you want to put that in there as well, so you've got access to that for later. And if we go into here, what we can see is we've got dayzoffline.anastara. So this is the mission file. So this is the file that we're going to upload to our server, and we're going to tell our server to run it. And then we've got our config profiles. So what he's also done is for these particular mods that require particular profiles that we put inside the config folder on our server, he's provided those as well. So that's really, really cool. Now, I'll also say that I highly recommend that you've installed this on a local server and you run a local server, because if you've run a local server, what you'll also have access to is, for example, this is my local server. What you'll also have access to is you will have already set up Vanilla++, and you've already set up zombie admin tools, which means that within the config folder of your local server, you will have the config for Zombie and VPP admin. And that's very, very useful, because it means that when we set up our remote server, instead of having to go in and add our Steam ID and all that sort of stuff, we can just upload these config folders, and then when we spawn in, we'll have admin rights straight away. If you're familiar with this, you know, maybe you're going, well, that's obvious, Rob. But if you're not, maybe you'll be like, oh, right, yeah, okay, so that's a good idea. The other thing that you can do as well is if you've got a local server that you've already set it up with, your local server will have a keys folder, which is, let's go on one, here. And your keys folder on a local server will probably be like mine, just full of different keys for all the different mods you've used on your local server. But the advantage is that when we go to FPP, instead of having to individually copy the keys out of each individual mod folder, we can just copy our entire local server mod folder, keys folder. Okay, it's going to have keys from mods we're not using, but we just copy that all over, and then, you know, it's a lot simpler, and it's going to kind of work that way. So if you're not familiar with it, check out that link in the description below the video about how to install a local server and become familiar with running a local server in your local PC. And that way, the way that you do things, your best practice is always to get server mods and, well, servers and modded servers working locally before you work remotely. Because the problem is working remotely, if something goes wrong, it takes more time to sort things out. Whereas if you've got it working locally, at least you know, well, this works. So if it doesn't work remotely, maybe it's something a mistake I've made as we've been doing it. Right, okay, so we've gone through and you've subscribed to all of the mods. You've opened up the DayZ launcher, so you've downloaded the mods. You've downloaded the GitHub repository with the mission files, and of course, you know, you've got a DayZ server. So in this case, we're going to be working on a Nitrado PC DayZ server to do that way. So what you really want to do at this point is you just want to make sure your server is stopped. So just stop it, and then you want to fire up your FTP program. Again, in this case, we're using FileZilla, but whichever way you want. And then you'll want to do something like File Site Manager, and then connect, and you'll connect to your file, you know, put all the relevant details in. And then you'll get up something like this on the right hand side. So on the right hand side, this is my remote community server. And the folder we're interested in to start off with is in DayZ standalone there. Because as you can see, I've already uploaded all the mods, but we now need to upload all of the relevant mods. Now this is where it's quite handy to have the README open from the GitHub repository, so you can go through and you can make sure you upload all the things you should be uploading. For example, There's Anastara Server, CJ187, Spawner Bubaku, not the Armed Mind ones, Anastara Server Pack, CF, Dabs Framework, and all of those, because it's quite a list. So the next thing we need to do is we need to find out where these mods are on our computer so we can upload them. One of the easiest ways to do it is if you go to the launcher, click on the mods folder. Oh, okay, so we're already in the game, so I can't do that because there we are. Looking around, so I tell you what, let's quit out of here. There we go, so let's quit that. Let's get back to the launcher. Right, here we go. So when you're in the mod section of the launcher, if you just click on that little arrow on next to any mod, click on the three little dots and click on Open Folder in Windows Explorer, it will then take you to where your mods are, which happen to be, if you left click, it tends to be something like C, Program Files, x86, Steam, SteamX Common, DayZ, exclamation workshop. Now, that exclamation workshop folder is a hidden workshop. So if you can't see it, go into the settings for the DayZ folder and make sure you can see hidden stuff, and it will be there. I'll do it like this. So once we know where that is, we can just right click, we can copy that whole address. We can go to our FTP program where it says local site up here. We can just left click that, right click that, paste that, and there we go, and we're in the same folder where all our mods are. So this is where we go through, and if you're using FileZilla, actually, they've changed something I think recently. So you're going to go down, you're going to right click somewhere over to the right and go upload, and you're going to do this, for all of the mods. So Anastara Server Pack, Basic Earplug, CF, CJ187, Crocodile, Dabs Framework, Fireplace Plus, Gebs Fish, No Force Weapon Rays, Red Falcon Flight System Heliz, Red Falcon Watercraft, Spawner Bubaku, VPP Admin Tools, Windstrides Clothing Pack, Zen Notes, Zombie Admin Tools, and I think that's all of them. Okay, so once they've all uploaded, and some of them are quite big, especially like Windstrides Clothing, that is a big mod to upload. Once they've all uploaded, and the Anastara is big as well, what we then need to do is on our server scroll down and open up the keys folder, like so, and then for each mod that we've uploaded, you'll want to go into the keys folder locally and right click and upload that particular key, going through and make sure you do all of the keys. If you start the server and you try and go into the server and it says something like the client has a mod that the server doesn't have, PBO error, generally that's because you haven't uploaded the key to the key from the local mod to the server's keys folder. So remember earlier when I said it's really good to have a local server because you'll have all your keys already in the right place because you already have installed it. If you wanted to do that, what you could do here, so this is where my local server is, we just go into keys, left click up there, right click that, copy that address, go back to FileZilla, left click there, paste that in. And what you can see here, so on all this here, on the bottom left hand corner, these are all the keys that I have on my local server. So what I could do is I could just go dunk, and then right click and upload. In fact, that's what I've done. And I know they're all in one place then. They've all uploaded and they're all there. So the next thing we would do as well is, because I've got a local server, what I can do as well is if we go into the config folder, let's just close that so the config will look like that of my local server. I can then scroll down, and within the config folder of my server, now you may have to run your server once, so let it start and run through for the config folder to appear. We would then upload Zomberry, and then I can upload VPP admin, because that would mean then it would then have my Steam ID, so when I get into the server it knows that I'm an admin. If you're scratching your head a bit at this and thinking I'm not quite sure what that means, is in the description below this video you'll see more instructional videos that tell you how to install Zombie and how to install VPP admin and how to add these folders to your server so that you can have admin access. However, you may also remember the fact that was included with the mission files was configs. So what we can do now as well is if we go into where we had the download. So if we go to DayZ modding, and if I go to Anastara mission main, config profiles there. So if I just left click that and then right click copy that, go back to my FTP, paste that over the top of there, press enter, there we go. So we're at the config files. So what we can now do, again, you see it says config, so we go into config, and what I can do now is I can now upload the individual config folders for these. So I could go right click, upload, and that would come over there, see it's already there. Right click, upload, SimpleSpawner to there, and right click, upload, spawner babuku to there. Remember, if the config folder isn't here yet, run your server, let it run through, let it fire up, and it will create a config folder. On some server providers, it might not be called config, it might be called profiles, or it might be called settings. It can have lots of different names. Generally, what you'll find inside the config file is the names of mods, but without the @ sign at the beginning. That's how you kind of know you're in the right sort of place. So we've uploaded those, Now we need to upload the mission file as we go along. So if we kind of close this, so if we open up our DayZ standalone again and scroll down and we go to missions, what we can see is at the moment there's 3 missions. There's Chernarus Plus, Chernarus, Enoch, which is Livonia, and I've already uploaded Anastara. But let me show you how to do that. So again, what we could do here is we go back to where we downloaded the mission files. So there it is, Anastara mission main, and we can left click at the top, right click that, copy that, go back to our FTP program, left click over there, paste that on top, so we're in the right place. We're there already, and we can see that we've got, let's close that, DayZ offline.anastara. So we select missions, left click that, right click upload, and that will then upload the mission file, as you can see there. So this is the thing that has all of the, economy events, globals, XML, all that sort of stuff. That's just, DB, all the normal stuff. There's the ENV with all the territories, but because what you see so you can see there, so we've got the croc territories there. I was saying how he's already included all the work. So normally when you're setting up DayZ Crocodile, it's all right. Pain's the wrong word. It takes time to get it set up, but that's already been done. So that's why you should take advantage of all these kind of related mods that are there. Okay, so that's all up and running. So we've uploaded the mods, we've uploaded the keys, we've uploaded the configs, we've uploaded the mission file. Now we need to go in and we need to set up the server so it will run as we want it. So here we go. So I'm on my settings for my Nitrado server, and I've set up expert mode, which we want. And then if you go into export settings down here, when you scroll down, and this will be the serverdz.config file on your local server, or it will be serverdz.config as well if you have access to this on a remote server. So some server providers allow you access to this file just to go into it. Nitrado, you have to go into it this way. And what we're looking for is this section here, which has class DayZ, and then it has the template. As you can see, I've already put in DayZ offline.anastara. So what we can do is if we go into there and just left click it once, and then we can right click to copy it, then we can go back to there and you would just paste that over the top. There we go. Now what I like to do is I like to add it in the comments down below. So I put 2 / and I put it in there as well. That way if I want to change between these different maps, so offline Chernarus Plus, Enoch, and offline Anastara, I can then just paste them into the template. While you're here, just consider changing things like your nighttime and daytime acceleration, your system time, all that sort of stuff. You can go in there and just check that. This, you'll only be able to save this when your server is stopped, and we said your server would be stopped at the time, so you'll see a thing to save that. So you'll want to save that. Keep it stopped at the moment because we've got some other things we want to do. Then we go back to the general settings, and you can scroll down, and we're after the additional mods section. Now on Nitrado we don't have access to the .bat file, or the batch file that starts the server. This is where we have to put our mods in. It could, on your local server, this is the .bat file, and on some server providers, DayZ server providers, you'll have access to the batch file that starts it, so you'll be going into that. But I imagine you kind of know what you're doing if you're going into that. And this has a list of all the mods that we're going to use, and you're probably thinking that's an awful lot of mods, and I'd say it is. However, in the description below this video, you will find this section where it will start with @CF, and then it will go through to @ZenNotes. So what you can do is you can just go into the description below this video, copy that, and then just paste it into here. Okay, and then you want to scroll down. You want to make sure that enable CFG gameplay.json is ticked, and then you'll want to save changes. Maybe at this time, before you start your server again, go back into your expert settings. Make sure you change the name of the server to whatever you want and change the password. Don't worry, mine one isn't called password, it's called something else, but I just do this for the sake of the video. And once you've done that, just start your server. It may be worth restarting it a couple of times for the changes to take effect. And what I will do is, if there's anything that I've missed out or has changed that someone mentions as a comment, I'll try and pin it as a comment below this video. But I would say that if you have trouble with any of this and it not working, go back to install it on your local server. If you're having trouble with the mods, maybe disable some of the mods and don't run them. One of the things that I have done actually that might be a bit naughty with this tutorial is a couple of the mods, which are the Spawner Bubaku and the SimpleSpawner mod. These are actually server-side only mods. So normally you would use a modifier that says server mod. However, you can't have server-side only mods on Nitrado, so I've just included them in with all of the normal mods. Now, I've tested this on my local server and it doesn't seem to make much difference, but it might do. So if you do have trouble, please go on over to their Discord. If it was working, there it is. The Dirty Fresh Discord, and see Battlesquatch and ask questions and tell him Scale Speeder sent you and that his tutorial doesn't work properly and you want to know how to do things. But also, this is a work in progress, this map, so maybe by the time you come to watch this video, I'm recording it at the end of May 2024, things may well have changed. So if that is the case, then the changes will be detailed here. If I get a chance, obviously I'll do an updated video. But there we go. This is a fantastic map, lots of things to explore, lots of things to do, and very exciting to see the quality of maps that are coming through. If you're watching this and you've got to the end and you're on console and you think, oh, well, won't mind them, something like that, well, remember, in a few short months we will be getting the Frostline expansion with the winter map, which is going to be exciting for console. My mouth is incredibly dry. I need to go and get a drink. Thank you very much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, hit like. If you found it useful, press subscribe. And of course, I'll see you again soon.